Jim told me to tell you that he supports this bill. Thank you for hearing this bill. I always say that it's one thing to be locked up in prison. It's entirely another thing to be locked out of society. I'm somebody who dropped out of school in the 8th grade. I moved out of my mother's house. I moved in with an older woman. She would kiss me on the mouth, blow crack smoke in my mouth. I became addicted to drugs, and I spent the next 20 years of my life in and out of prison, up and down the East Coast. First time I was locked up was enough, but I had nothing but an 8th grade education, and when I was released, I had little to nothing to stand on and always ended up going right back to prison. The last time I was incarcerated, I was said enough was enough. My concern was more so how was I going to be able to stay out of prison instead of just get out of prison. I went back to school, I got my GED, I got my associate's degree, and I was fortunate enough to get my bachelor's degree from Rhode Island University when I was released. I've created a youth program in my neighborhood. I've created the reentry campus program. Some of these individuals are my students. I have freedom today. I have choices. Prior to me having my education, I had little to no choices. It's just my personal belief that once you have freedom, it is my responsibility to make sure that somebody else has that same freedom and to not just want that for myself. So I created the program. And the problem with it is, like, I had an employer. The employer had a $60 million a year budget. They wanted to hire all of our students, right? But because there's laws in place that prevent our students from getting CNA licenses, this employer cannot hire our students. And what I've noticed is that a lot of the students that are coming home, they want to work in the social service field. And a lot of it has to do with addiction. But, somebody said this, what we're seeing, we're going to see a rise in decarceration. You're going to see a rise in social services, especially the need for programs. And these are some of the most important individuals, the best individuals to actually work in this field. The problem with it is that we're telling them that they can work to this capacity, but in order for them to work at this capacity, they need the license, and they cannot. So me, as a social service, like somebody that works in the field, I can work for you, but I can never aspire to go higher. And for me, I don't know about you, I like having the opportunity to take my wife out for a meal. I like having the opportunity to provide for my daughter. I like having the opportunity to take my daughter and put her in a private school if I want to. I like having the opportunity of having choices. This thing, or the only thing it does, is prevent people from having choices to aspire for higher and want more. So I hope that you would pass this bill. It just really makes sense. Those closest to the problem are closest to the solution. But a lot of times we're furthest from the resources and power. You are the power, and we need your help to pass this bill. Thank you.